Mia's Little Stories. Sweet bread, brave Mia. The bakery must make bread for a forest festival, and there is little time. One missing ingredient could ruin the plan for today. In the beginning, Mia is a rabbit girl who helps at a small forest bakery. She likes clean counters and warm ovens. Rowan is a kind bear baker who teaches her simple steps. Today they must bake extra bread for hikers on the trail. Rowan checks the order list and says, "We need many loaves before noon." Mia looks at the empty racks and thinks, "Can we finish in time?" Rowan sets out flour, yeast, salt, and a big mixing tub. He tells Mia, "We will make one sweet bread too." He adds, "Please bring the sugar from the pantry." Mia answers, "Okay, I will be careful." She walks to the pantry where jars sit on wooden shelves. She finds the sugar jar, heavy and full. She holds it with both hands and walks back to the table. For a few steps, everything feels fine. Then her foot catches the edge of a small rug. Her hands slip, and the jar falls. The lid opens, and sugar spreads across the floor. Mia freezes and looks toward Rowan. Rowan is near the oven, and he has not turned around yet. Mia thinks, "If I tell Rowan, he may be upset." She thinks, "If we have no sugar, the sweet bread may fail." What should she do now? Mia grabs the broom and sweeps fast. She pulls the sugar into a pile and tips it into a clean cloth. Some sugar stays in the floor cracks, and she cannot reach it all. Her ears drop, but she folds the cloth tight. She slides the cloth into a bin near the wall. Then she puts the jar on the table and tries to look calm. Rowan comes over and asks, "Did you find the sugar?" Mia says, "Yes, it is here." Rowan nods and starts the work. He measures flour into the tub and says, "Flour first." Mia sets cups in a straight line and wipes the counter. Rowan adds yeast and warm water. Small bubbles appear on top and Mia feels tense. She keeps glancing at the bin. Will Rowan notice? In the middle, Rowan reaches for the sugar jar. He lifts it and frowns. He shakes it once and says, "This jar feels too light." Mia's ears sink lower. Rowan asks, "Did we use sugar earlier?" Mia says, "No, not today," and her voice is very quiet. Rowan sets the jar down and looks toward the pantry. He checks the shelf and then looks at the floor near the table. Mia's paws feel cold. She wants to speak, but she stays still. If she waits longer, will it be harder to fix? Rowan returns to the table and points to the tub. He tells Mia, "We should not mix in sugar until we know we have enough." Mia nods quickly. Rowan speaks softly. He says, "When I was young, I made mistakes too." He adds, "I told my teacher right away, and we fixed them." Mia hears that and feels more shame. She thinks, "I should tell him now," but she does not speak. Rowan looks at the broom and the floor again. He takes a slow breath and kneels down. Now the twist comes. Rowan sees a thin line of sugar near the broom. His eyes follow it toward the wall. He turns to Mia and asks, "Mia, what happened here?" Mia's ears drop fully. She takes a breath and says, "I dropped the jar." She swallows and adds, "I hid the sugar in a cloth." She says, "I was scared to tell you." Mia looks up and waits for his answer. Rowan stays calm. He says, "Thank you for telling the truth now." Rowan says, Hiding makes work harder. He says, truth helps us fix things. Mia nods and her eyes feel wet. Rowan looks at the clock and says, we must change the plan. Can they finish the bread on time? In the ending, Rowan stops the mixing before the dough is finished. He says, we will make a plain bread and a fruit bread. Mia blinks and asks, fruit bread? Rowan answers, yes, dried fruit will add sweetness. Rowan points to the floor and says, first we clean the floor the right way. Mia asks, should we use the sugar from the cloth? Rowan says, no, floor sugar is not safe. Mia brings clean water and scrubs the spot where the sugar fell. She cleans the cracks as well as she can. She throws away the cloth and washes her paws. Rowan checks the floor and nods. He says, good, safety comes first. Mia washes the mixing tub and wipes the counter until it is clean. She feels calmer when she knows what to do. Rowan watches and gives a small nod. Rowan checks the pantry with Mia. They look for fruit that is clean and dry. Mia finds dried apples and small dark raisins. Rowan says, these will taste good in bread. Mia says, I will help. Rowan measures flour and salt for the plain dough. Mia measures dried fruit for the second dough. Rowan tells her, slow hands, stay calm. They mix the plain dough first and set it to rise. Then they mix the fruit dough and fold the fruit in gently. Mia spreads the fruit so each loaf gets some. Sunlight comes through the window, and the room grows warmer. Rowan touches the bowl and says, the dough may rise too fast. Mia looks at the timer. Will the dough stay okay until baking time? Rowan opens a small window for 1 minute. He moves the bowls to a cooler shelf. He says, we will watch the dough and the timer. Mia stays close and checks the rise. Rowan nods when it looks even. When the dough is ready, Rowan shapes the loaves. Mia lines the pans and leaves space between loaves. Rowan shows her how to tuck the edges under. Mia tries, and her first loaf looks uneven. Rowan says, that is okay, try again. Mia tries again, slower, and it looks better. Rowan slides the pans into the oven and closes the door gently. The smell of baking bread fills the bakery. Mia cleans tools and keeps the table clear. Rowan checks the crust through the oven window. He says, not yet. A little more time. Mia watches the clock. At last, Rowan pulls the loaves out and sets them on the rack. The plain bread looks smooth and warm. The fruit bread has sweet pieces in every slice. They carry baskets to the festival table under the trees. Hikers line up and look hungry. Rowan greets them with a friendly smile. Mia stands beside him and helps pass the bread. A child asks, is there sweet bread? Mia says, we have fruit bread today. Rowan adds, it is sweet from fruit and it is fresh. The child takes a bite and smiles. Mia watches faces as people taste. A hiker says, this fruit bread tastes good. Another says, plain bread is perfect after a long walk. Someone says, thank you for feeding us. Mia feels relief. When the line gets shorter, Mia turns to Rowan. She says, next time I will tell you right away. Rowan nods and says, good. That is how we keep the bakery safe and ready. Mia smiles, and her ears lift again.